Very funny. That was really funny. But Brian, we were talking about the fact that I'm an optimist. And
Uh-huh.
you said, and your idea was,
I said everyone knows you're an optimist because we've seen how slowly you serve popcorn.
and this morning, I don't know if you've noticed, he's also pretty slow at handing out candy in New York City. So
Oh,
yeah, yeah. CNBC is entertaining them today, or I don't know. I kind of missed the whole point, but
that
he's
that's that's good PR is what that is.
very, very good PR. Well, something's working this morning. That might be what's going on. I know tonight we could have a completely different picture, but as we're starting to show this, starting to record this video, we're up 25 bucks.
Weird. I saw that this morning and I was like, up 5.5% on what I can only call no news. I mean, Adam Jonas did have a new note saying,
Yes.
I believe FSD is solved, therefore all embodied AI is solved. And I posted on X saying, is it? Is that how it works? And I'm fortunately I've been able to get a lot of feedback from people who also don't know, but are pretty sure they have the right idea one way or the other.
I'm sure they do. They're all experts now. They
We're all
they no
experts, yeah.
longer have to be experts in the war between the Israelites and Gaza.
Mm-hmm.
So they need something new to be experts in. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, anyway, up 25. I'm telling you why it happened. It was partially to do with Jonas, but it was also partially to, it's just time. People are
Hmm.
seeing the videos. The people who have the serious money to invest are seeing the videos and it works. I mean, it works. So you don't want to miss out. And this is the FOMO that I've been predicting for, I don't know, 4 months now. Since June 22nd. I think we're finally getting there and we'll see. We'll
Hmm.
see if it continues to go up and to the right.
And I'm not worried, and you shouldn't be worried. None of us should be worried about the daily movements of a stock. This could be erased tomorrow. It could be erased today. And the biggest thing that will move the stock in the next 6 months is the unknown.
There you go.
Something unknown. It could be a partnership deal that lands. It could be uh, a war in the Congo.
Right.
I mean, we just don't know.
Yeah, so what I want to talk to you about today, you did a video the other day talking about sodium batteries. And quite frankly, I know like this much. So I
Hmm.
want to become an expert on sodium batteries and whether they have a future, whether they don't have a future, what Jordan Giesecke had to say about it. I didn't even watch the video because I wanted to hear it from you in I don't know, the language of a simpler person.
Well, what I hear you saying is that you want to hear it from the horse's mouth, but what I really think you're saying is the horse is something else. Hey, so sodium batteries, what we're really talking about is what is the chemistry inside the battery? For the longest time, we've had what we call high nickel batteries,
Right.
lithium, cobalt, manganese, nickel, things like that. Um, and some of those elements are expensive at the very least, or difficult to acquire. Like in the case of cobalt, it only comes from a handful of places. Congo is one of them. So there's been an objective for a long time to minimize the need for certain chemistries. And we've seen LFP batteries, for example, don't use nickel or manganese or cobalt, meaning LFP batteries have elements that come from kind of all over the world. That should insulate you from speculators a bit. That should insulate you from geographic limitations, political limitations. But then a couple of years ago, we saw this big spike in lithium speculation that drove the price to a high level that was deeply concerning and problematic. The question was asked, is this just the new normal price or is it a bubble? Fortunately, it turned out to be a bubble because if those prices had endured, it would have created quite a problem. Well, there's always other kinds of battery chemistries out there. It's not what is the best battery, it is what is the best battery for your use case. And you can do like a little spider graph that will have on it how many cycles you can get, how fast you can charge, how many, the energy density, both volumetric and gravimetric density, because it's great to have what you'd love is a battery that's very energy dense, very safe in terms of thermal runaway, very cheap. There's trade-offs.
Right.
Sodium seeks to address many of those. Sodium is the materials that go into a sodium battery, a sodium ion battery, are much cheaper, substantially cheaper. Thermal runaway is a little less likely. Still not perfect. Nothing is. If you're storing energy inside of something, it has energy in it. But there are benefits. The biggest benefit is that in the future, it could bring prices down. Another benefit is that the invention cycle is just getting started on sodium, where it's a bit more mature in both lithium ion and lithium iron phosphate. So there's potentially more room to improve in sodium than there is in some of the others, but there are always going to be limits. The chemistry itself will have limits. So the real problem we were getting was a lot of the hype channels, and I don't just mean on YouTube and on X. I mean the news as well. The blog spam says sodium's here, it's in production, and it's 90% cheaper than lithium ion. And 90% cheaper is quite a claim. And so you go back, but here's the reality. CATL has been working on this. CATL is a real battery company that
A real one. Yeah.
a real one. When XYZ Batteries says, I've got this miracle breakthrough, be skeptical, because those always fall apart. When CATL or BYD or Panasonic says, we've got this, they're usually dead on because they don't announce it until it's known. CATL has announced that this year they're going to be entering volume production of their next generation of sodium ion batteries. Sodium ion batteries are already in cars in China. Not many, a handful, and they work. They have the cycle life. They operate as expected. They charge as expected. They're just bulky for the amount of power they can store, meaning they're only good for city cars or perhaps stationary storage, where volume is less critical. So these are coming into production forthwith. And you say, well, that's great, but what about that? Well, if all the ingredients are 90% cheaper, why can't it be 90% cheaper to have? Because the cell still costs money to build, and the pack still costs money to build. Those didn't get 90% cheaper. Those are still about the same price. It's like when you see solar panel prices have fallen 90%, you go, oh, great. So that $20,000 rooftop installation's now $2,000? No, it's still about 20. It might be 18 or 17 now because the solar panels are only one part of the equation, the smallest part when it comes to a home rooftop installation. So with batteries, the cells still have to be made, the packs still have to be made, they still have to be shipped.
Yeah.
So cheaper ingredients is great, but it's only one small part of the puzzle. Then, of course, you've got the guy saying, well, you're telling me CATL is charging more than lithium iron phosphate and losing money on these. They're not a dumb company. Why would they do this? Because they're not a dumb company, because you don't expect a gross margin on day one, especially with something like this. Do you know how far behind Intel or AMD is the day they release their chips? It's like, well, you spent $100 million developing this chip and you're selling it for $1,000. You're going to lose your shirt. Right. But we're going to sell a bunch of them.
Yeah.
That's the plan. And as the equipment is paid for, as the research is long paid off, that's when you start to see the retail cost approaching the production costs. So that's mostly where we're at. But sodium batteries are real. They are here. They are now. And they are potentially going to be better than LFP in the future. They're not today, but that roadmap does exist. And a diversity of choices, a diversity of chemistries, a diversity of approaches is a good thing, and something that I think is wise to do for a bunch of reasons.
So as you pointed out in the beginning, one thing that we use to determine what kind of a battery chemistry we're going to use is its advantages. And one of the big advantages on nickel has, according to the best knowledge that I have, has always been that it's the one that will give you the most acceleration, even though you give up something in terms of charging dynamics, only being able to charge to 80% or and wanting to refill at 20%, et cetera. Do we see sodium ever giving us the kind of power capabilities that we now have with nickel?
There could be a chemistry breakthrough around the corner. There doesn't look like there is one. That's not the objective of it. The big thing holding it back for years, I've been saying when people would ask about sodium batteries is that due to its bulk, both gravimetric and volumetric energy density, that it would be more ideally suited to stationary application. When LFPs were first really getting going, that was what I said is those need to be not in cars until they get good enough. They need to be in stationary. Well, now today, almost all stationary storage is LFP. So why not just now that LFPs have gotten better, why not move everything one step up the chain?
Yeah.
Keep the high nickel ones for the performance vehicles, your plaids, your Yang Wang U9s, whatever it may be, and put LFP in everything you can because the LFP energy densities keeps getting better, and the LFP is just a good battery, and moves sodium ion into stationary. And there's two answers for that today. The first is the sodium batteries are not yet cheaper. They could be soon, but they're not today. And the other is round trip energy efficiency. How much of the juice do you put in do you get back out? And with LFP, it looks like it's 92 to 98%, where with LFP, with sodium ion, it's more like 83 to 92%, meaning at best, sodium ion is only as good as the lowest performing LFP. If you're running a battery bank, a grid scale energy solution, can you afford to shave 10% off the amount of energy you're able to put back out? That's a big expense. That's something that may be solved right now, and we don't know. It's something that may be solved in the next 5-10 years. As soon as that is truly on par with LFP and the cells are cheaper, the switch will come very quickly.
Yeah, and CATL is kind of a they don't have any, they don't play favorites. They do business with everybody, and I think that Tesla is already one of their largest, if not their largest customer. So Tesla's always going to be given an early look at the next chemistry and pitched in order to maintain that relationship.
You're exactly right. You know how it works with big business. If I've got a new product in the works, I'm going to show it to all of my usual customers at the very least so they can start engineering around it. And you see that especially in computers where back in the days when audio cards were a thing and all your cards were separate, those manufacturers would reach out to Dell and say, here's what we've got coming in the works. Be ready for it. It would be very surprising if Tesla wasn't in the know. I did get comments saying, I just can't, I get it. Everything Elon does, you love. And I look at it and I go, what video did you watch? This is barely about Tesla.
Right.
Tesla doesn't make sodium batteries. They don't make lithium iron phosphate yet. They're working on commissioning the line, but they're not trying to be a player in LFP. They're just trying to supplement their own demand a bit. The 10 gigawatt hours of production they're expecting out of Sparks, Nevada is not going to send a single ripple through the industry.
Right.
And Tesla's both their 2170 and 4680 cells are not part of this conversation. They're not used in stationary storage, and the sodium ones are not part of the automotive chain at all in the US and probably won't be for some years to come.
Yeah, okay. So, all right. I think that brings me up to date, and hopefully that means everybody else out there. But ask your questions, put them in the comments below. There's one more thing on my mind today. It's been on my mind now for about 4 days,
Uh-oh.
5 days. And it was, I think we should change the conversation about full self-driving. Right now, the conversation is, hey, Texas, you should let us ride this thing around without a driver. Oh, hey, California, we should be able to put these things out as cabs and get the driver and the rider, get them all out of there because we're proving to you that it's safe. I think we should flip the conversation on its head and we should say FSD should be required in all cars.
Mm-hmm.
Get rid of the drivers because the FSD is 90% safer as it is right this minute. It's 90% safe. We can prove that. We've got millions and millions of miles at 90% better safety record. Therefore, you should start requiring this of all makers.
So if you make it mandatory, you're going to get Dan O'Dowd using it wrong on purpose himself instead of paying people to use it wrong on his behalf. He recently said that he has spent millions on this crusade, to which everyone said, you got ripped off. I know a guy who would have done a better job for probably $300. And don't tell me you're spending millions on Super Bowl ads because local market ads running in 2-3 markets doesn't cost millions unless, again, you're getting ripped off, in which case, I mean, if that's what you're into, I guess I'm not going to shame you for it. But there are, it's crazy to think about, you know, in a 55 Bel Air, seatbelts were an option that you had to pay extra for.
Yeah.
When Volvo invented the 3-point harness, they gave it away. They gave the patent away because this is too big of a lifesaver. It would be unconscionable of us to keep it for ourselves and monetize it if that paywall creates a safety gap, which it did. Making it, I hope that FSD is in some way mandatory, because right now the alternative is it is paywalled. I would love to see Tesla say, well, the take rate's 12%. We'd like it to be 20%. Therefore, all cars 20% more expensive and everybody gets FSD.
Right.
I think that would, you know, on my Nissan Quest, my blind spot monitors, the blind spot detection did not exist because that was on the next trim level up. It didn't have the heated mirrors. You think, well, that's not a safety issue. In the Northwest, I assure you it is. The windows fog throughout the entire winter, once or twice a day. So there are benefits to having it everywhere. I think you and I agree. When the safety hitchhikers are removed from the test vehicles, not important. Does it work? That's the only metric I care about. Does it work? Because when Tesla gets to the point where they say, look, the safety monitor isn't doing anything. Back at HQ, monitoring 100, 1,000, 10,000 cars, we only have a couple people, and they're only there in case of emergencies that never emerge. That's when, if there's still delays, you would just flip it and say, okay, we're looking for a state that's going to let us just do this now, and we're going to flood them and change their entire world. And hopefully,
well, I think we need an organization. So I was going to think that maybe you and I, you know, because we're so aligned politically, we could start this new organization, and we're going to call it Mothers Against Meat Drivers.
Mommed, yeah, mammed. I love it.
Yes,
yeah, that would be. It's the trick becomes, do you want everyone to have Blue Cruise?
No, this has got to be you got to set standards.
Yes.
You weren't going to be able to sell a lap harness or an airbag that wasn't up to NISTA standards.
Right.
So why would it be any different here? You got to match FSD or you can't sell it.
Yeah. I mean, I love the idea. I just believe that technology is moving so quickly that by the time we could agree on our articles of incorporation, it might be pointless. Not to say it's not pointless already, but
Yeah. So, well, of course, the reality, as I think Larry pointed out last Friday, is that if we started today, and every manufacturer said they were in on this deal, it would take them 3 years to be able just to convert their lines and start producing 100% of the vehicles with FSD.
Optimistically.
Optimistically, right. And in a perfect world, 3 years. And that's kind of a normal thing that NISTA does. They give manufacturers time to do the engineering and bring themselves up to speed. So I think, and so by that time, only another 120,000 people will die, and only 2.1 million will be seriously injured in the United States.
Alone, just the one
Well, yeah,
country.
right, right. So I would think this could be, I don't know, the rush job. This could be the another moonshot, because there's almost nothing you could do right now. People talk about curing cancer. They talk about, solving other guns. People are like, yeah, take away all the guns. You're going to save more lives right now and create a bigger reduction in injury by getting the human out of the driver's seat than by solving any of those other problems.
There's no political will. We live in a weak time of soft people who don't want to do difficult and uncomfortable things because it's difficult and uncomfortable. So I can't see a moonshot happening, not even for the moon, unfortunately. And it's something that's I would put more stock in a country like China, where they do have where it's my way or the highway, because they can make things happen. They don't have to worry about
Voters.
misinformed, useful idiots trying to cause everyone harm because they don't understand science. We have too many anti-scientific people in the West. It's unfortunate. You'll notice that when the Chinese government does something unpopular, no one speaks out, and that includes Elon and Tesla, because they understand the power dynamic is such that you would have to be a little bit crazy to put yourself in that position. They're very powerful. A country like China could move forward with an initiative like that. And you would hope that, well, if we see it working there, maybe we'll adopt it. Nah. They've got high-speed rail that works. We ain't adopting that because it's expensive and difficult. And it's doing the expensive and difficult thing is, I have it on good authority, expensive and difficult.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you have a point there, but if you comb your hair just a little differently, it might not show. Okay, Brian, we've covered the stock price. We've covered the mothers against meat drivers, and we've covered sodium batteries. I think that's enough for now. Oh, no. One last thing.
Oh.
One last thing. Are you part of that group of crazy people that put out some book on AI or something?
Yes. And the reviews are in, and they're all good except for one from a guy who clearly didn't even read it. And you look at it, you're like, that's not even relevant to the. Did you read the title, I guess? I don't know.
Yeah.
The book is out and it's fascinating. I'd had an early chance to look at the other authors' chapters, their contributions, but I hadn't seen the final until it came out, and it's out, AI Rising. And when I looked yesterday on Amazon, the 3 categories in which it is published, it is #1 on Kindle. Therefore, best-selling author Randy Kirk has done it again. And this time, the only mistake he made was adding an honorific to my name, best-selling author Brian White.
Brian, yeah. So now you're an Amazon #1 best-selling author in the area of AI, of artificial intelligence, is one of the areas that we're #1.
That my intelligence definitely feels artificial at times, so I think it's appropriate.
There you go. All right, Brian. Enough of that. Let's say goodnight, Brian.
Good night, Gracie.
And to all of you out there, it's been great talking to you.